Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm super excited because I'm going to be doing another sit down and talk with me video. But in today's video, instead of talking about pets that I do want to own in the future, I'll be talking about pets that I do not want to own in the future. And again, I will be holding my leopard gecko Toast so you guys can see his cute little face as he just sits there and stares back at you guys. I have to get him out still, but I'm going to get him right now. And I'm back with Toast, and we're going to go ahead and start this video off with the first pet that I do not ever want to own, and I'll be explaining why for each, if there's a good reason, and I think there is for each. He just ate, by the way, so pray for me that he doesn't regurgitate the food. I never hold him after he just ate, but I am today for you guys. You're beautiful. Say hi to the camera. What do you have to say? He has no statement. Okay, so the first pet, sorry for the little disruption, that I do not ever want to own is fish. Just like any type of fish. My main fear and reason I don't want to get fish is just because the whole setup and stuff is so complicated and it's just so dangerous in my head, because imagine if there was an earthquake, okay? Let me put you in my anxiety perspective. And your aquarium shatters, it's full of water and your beloved pet. And that just, your whole room, your carpet, whatever you have is gonna get wet. And your fish are probably gonna die. That scares me enough as it is. You also don't get to ever have any contact with most fish, from what I know. Obviously, I don't know a lot since I've never owned fish personally, so that makes me pretty biased, but I just don't like the idea of fish, and I like to look at other people's fish, and I love fish. I just don't want to own any myself because I know I'd be anxiety prone, and I don't think it's worth it for me personally, but alright. And then the second pet that I do not ever want to own is turtles, just in general, like tortoises and water turtles. It's like aquarium animal, or it's a really long commitment, and I don't know why I added this to the list because I don't even think about turtles that much, but I just couldn't see myself owning them ever. He might kill himself right now. Alright, he's on the floor now. I'm gonna let him do what he wants so he doesn't throw up. But the next pet that I have written down that I don't want to own in my handy dandy journal is large parrots. And this is, again, a commitment thing. Most large parrots, and when I talk large, I mean large. I mean like macaws and like crazy outrageous pets that I couldn't even probably own, just because they are a really big commitment issue. You would have to pass them off to grandchildren probably, because they live for 45 plus years, and if I got it right now, that's just crazy to me. And then the next pet that I wouldn't ever want to own would have to be crested geckos. And you're probably like, Zoe, you have a leopard gecko just crawling around your playpen right now. Aren't they really similar? Aren't they both geckos? Indeed, they are geckos, but they're completely different species of animals, and for good reason. Leopard geckos are more up my alley. I could see myself owning leopard geckos for a long time. Toast is just everything to me. But crested geckos, they jump. They have very cool characteristics, I do have to admit, and maybe I will own them one day, but I really don't plan on it because they jump, they can stick to walls, and they need a humid environment, and they also have a completely different persona that is characterized as easily turning salty and just not liking their owners. And I don't know, leopard geckos are definitely one of my favorite animals, and I just couldn't see myself owning crested geckos, in my opinion. He's crawling up my leg. Good boy. The next pet that I could not see myself owning is hissing cockroaches, which I didn't know were pets until a couple years ago, but yes, people keep them as pets. No shade to them. I could not see myself owning just 2 insects or whatever, just to have them. Like, that's just not up my alley. And then the next is male intact mice. I actually had my own experience with a singular male intact mouse. It wasn't a good experience. That's why I would really not want to own one again. They are very smelly animals when they're intact male mice, because they spray everywhere, and yeah, that's like it. And they don't just smell a little bit, they smell pretty bad. I could not live with them in my room, so I couldn't see myself owning them in the future. Obviously, that could change as well. That one isn't as hard set as the other ones, but it is on this list. The next is spider ball pythons. Now we are getting into unethical species of animals, in my opinion, and this is where I can help educate you guys on some different species of animals that may appear cute but are extremely unethical, and therefore you really shouldn't support them unless you don't care about ethics and the good treatment, betterment, or whatever of animals. So the first on this list, or this part of my list, is spider ball pythons. It is a morph in ball pythons that causes them usually to have tremors and just neurological side effects to, I think, a morph coloration. I'm not completely well versed on this subject, but I just know it's an unethical thing to support the intentional breeding of it. Obviously, for any of these animals I'm about to mention, if you rescue them from a bad situation and they're already put onto this earth, that's not the same thing as going to a breeder that intentionally breeds unethical species of animals and asking for that unethical species or more for breed of an animal. And there's reasons why they're unethical. This one has tremors and extreme health issues and conditions due to a simple thing as humans wanting like a certain coloration, which is really unfair to the animal and to the species as a whole because it kind of ruins a lot of the genetics and things. On this list is Scottish fold cats, which I learned about this only like a year or two ago as well. So I don't think a lot of people know this, but Scottish fold cats are adorable. Don't get me wrong. And again, if you rescued one, that's different. But to intentionally go out and get one from a breeder is actually unethical in my opinion, because Scottish fold cats are only Scottish fold cats due to the intentional breeding of the cat without cartilage. They basically lower the amount of cartilage over time, obviously, through breeding. I don't know a lot about breeding, but I do know that they lower the amount of cartilage in the overall cat's body, which causes their ears to fold inward, which makes them look adorable. Because that's what we want, right? Adorable animals that suffer. I'm being honest here. These Scottish fold cats have a lifetime of suffering ahead of them, which is really unfortunate because the lack of cartilage in their ears affects their entire body. You can't just spot treatment a breed. Like, you can't just be like, less cartilage in just the ears. It's going to affect their entire body, all their joints, for the rest of their lives, meaning Scottish fold cats have severe issues with their joints and cartilage in their bones as they get older, and even when they're young they can get different issues with disformation and pain related issues, and it's horrible. I would never support that, and therefore I never plan on owning one intentionally. Obviously, if it came into my life through a rescue type situation, I will always rescue them if I can. Next, we have Munchkin cats and Munchkin like pit bull breeds, which I just recently found out about the pit bull side of this. I'm not saying pit bulls. I love pit bulls. I will definitely own a pit bull in my life and rescue one for sure. I love them. I work with them a lot at the Humane Society near me. I'm talking about Munchkin pit bulls or Munchkin like bulldogs. Basically, it's the same thing as Munchkin cats, where they are bred intentionally for very short, stubby legs, almost like a dash hound or a hound. But it's even shorter than that, and it's for the mere aesthetic of it, which is where a lot of unethical breeding comes from, is the aesthetic that humans want to get from it. So this includes Munchkin cats. They are these cute little stubby cats that can't hardly run, and that's due to their short limbs. And this is unethical in my opinion because, again, it's affecting their ability to move, and who knows what else in order to get to that aesthetic that they wanted. And same thing with the bulldog pit bull. Like, I'm not sure what breed. I'll put it on the screen and put pictures. They can't run. They trip over themselves. It's funny for us, but if you were them, it wouldn't be funny. They lack mobility, therefore it will affect their health in my opinion, because if we lack mobility, it affects your health. So it's just a chronological effects of humans being humans. It's very annoying. Anyways, and then to finish this off with something I know quite a bit more about, I would never get a hairless hamster. I know this is a little different than what I was just talking about, and Toast is still down here. He's actually just sitting on my thigh, so you guys got to see him for a little bit. I'll show you at the end of today's video, which we're almost there because it's a shorter video, hopefully. Hairless hamsters are unethical because of a lot of reasons, which I'm about to explain in a moment. There have been YouTubers in the past who got hairless hamsters intentionally, and that is just really unfortunate for the small animal community due to hairless hamsters are one of the most unethical things you could support breeding. It's a newer thing. That's why people like it, because it's rare or whatever, but it's not good just because it's rare. In fact, hairless hamsters have a lot of issues because their hair is a big part of how they stay regulated temperature wise. They also can get a lot more wounds without having their hair barrier to protect their very sensitive skin that they have. So hairless hamsters have to be kept on paper-based bedding and completely eliminate any wooden things or anything natural, because that can easily cause them to get a laceration on their very sensitive skin, meaning you can't really provide hardly any enrichment for hairless hamsters, as you know, or hopefully know. And if you don't know, go check out my channel. It's about small animal care or any other plethora of small animal care channels that talk about hamster care. Hamsters need lots of enrichment to stay mentally stimulated because they need that mental stimulation. So they need lots of natural wood things and just a lot of different substrates and things for them to feel. Well, you can't give that to a hairless hamster, therefore it is unethical, because these hamsters will suffer with their stimulation, and then they also have a much higher chance of getting a lot of different health issues, all due to a human who decided they wanted a hamster without fur, which is very, very selfish. Therefore, I will never own or support the owning of a hairless hamster, just like the other animals I mentioned previously. And lastly, to tie this off, I also want to mention how I would never own intentionally any brachycephalic or hydrocephalic, but brachycephalic hamsters are hamsters with a pushed-in snout, and it's seen more and more in like the unethical hamster trade. But some people who decided to even create it intentionally just like the look of a pushed-in snout on a hamster, just like pugs and dogs breeds and things like that. But I would never support going out and buying from a breeder who breeds brachycephalic hamsters. And I also don't entirely support the breeding of pugs and things like that to have a really pushed-in snout either, but that is really popular, so I'm not going to really talk about that on today's video. But I'm going to let Toast say bye, and that is today's video of pets I do not plan on ever owning. I'm sure there's more, but this was just a little short list I made that I could think off the top of my head. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and here is Toast.